Hello, welcome to another live stream here. So I'm going to talk today about augmented triads, diminished seventh type arpeggios, and some symmetrical type collections of notes. And I'd like to also offer some perspectives on practice and playing things too. All right, good morning, Christopher. Thanks for joining. How's it going? So I may do a little noodling here for a couple of minutes as folks are coming in. I want to just double check. I'll be streaming on a couple of platforms, so if I mention a chat that you don't see, it's probably due to that. But yeah, I'll do a little playing here, but let me know your questions and struggles or achievements. Let me know how you're doing in general. Say hello. Mic's off, sorry. So one thing I'd like to talk about a little bit today is perspectives on practice, perspectives on these scales and modes and all this type of thing. And one thing we should consider here is just the total number of notes. Okay, so when we have 12 notes, we're going to choose some kind of fraction of those notes, right? So if we have the augmented triad, we have 3 out of those 12 notes, and since it's all symmetrical, meaning that it's all the same interval between each note, that means it's divided that way evenly between the 12. So if we take it up a half step, another half step, and another half step, we've actually played all 12 notes there. So it offers a good way to kind of get into some outside type playing. So I did a shorts video on this little bit of a line here. So that offers you a space to really get into chromatic type playing and outside type playing, right? Because if I take this augmented triad here, so let's say I'm playing C augmented, I'm starting on E, G sharp, E, C. So that's string 3 fret 9, string 3 fret 13, back to string 3 fret 9, and string 4 fret 10. Then we have augmented triad and kind of a movable shape, right? So once we play this, we played 3 out of 12 notes, total of 6 out of 12 notes, 9 out of 12 notes, and if you keep going, then 12 out of 12 notes. So it's interesting to think about augmented triads for outside type playing for kind of a number of reasons. If we had a C major chord, for example, and we played a C augmented triad, we would have 2 inside sounds and 1 outside sound. Now, if we had, let's say, D flat augmented triad, we're going to have 2 outside sounds and 1 fairly inside consonant sound. If we have an augmented triad here, D, we're going to get 1 kind of inside sound. It's a pleasant sound. It's not a chord tone, but it's a 9. And you're going to get 2 dissonant type tones of kind of varying degrees. The sharp 11 can sound really cool on a major 7, but the flat 7s are really going to sound outside. So then that offers you a problem, which kind of cries out for a solution. So, you might play a line like, right, and then you just take maybe one more, the E flat augmented triad. You're going to get an outside sound here, inside, right? So that's a challenge I'd like to offer folks, is to take a triad like an augmented triad and try to spell out how it relates to a chord. Is the note that you're currently playing, is it a root note, third, fifth, or whatever, and kind of get used to hearing really all 12 notes on any given chord. And so I'd highly recommend using backing tracks and things like that. Okay. Costas Gamer, thanks for joining. Family is musicians and grandfather has a guild. Awesome. Yeah. One of the very first guitars I ever played was a guild, steel string. Thanks for joining in. So I'd encourage you all to try out the augmented triad and see if you can play it. It's really kind of outside and in general, and I'll give some reasons for that. Let's survey through the major scale. I did a podcast talk about this. Say we're in C major, and we're thinking in the key of C major, obviously. If we survey through the triads for that, we'll find that we don't have any augmented triads, right? So the augmented triad automatically kind of starts to push you outside of the major scale harmony, right? Now we do have a diminished triad. In there. And that offers some tension for sure. So it's sort of built in, if I play B diminished, diminished triad, it's going to kind of want to go to C major, right? If we take the G major triad, place the B diminished triad into that, we end up with the G7 chord. And that's another area where I would encourage folks to think about the interconnected and maybe plurality of sounds, right? So when we think about a collection of notes, or like a triad or a scale or anything, they're not really isolated from every other note in our system, right? Everything is kind of interconnected in a way. And so if you look at the circle of fifths, right, if I play C major, and then I play in F, I play an F major scale. Six of the seven notes are actually the same notes, right? So if I start an F major scale from C, then I need to include that B flat. So the really only note difference is B natural of the C major scale and the B flat of the F major scale. So I would encourage folks out there to explore one of two things when it comes to modes and key centers and all that. Play the modes relative, but also play the modes parallel, right? So see how many, so I think most folks are kind of familiar with the idea of playing C major and then D Dorian, right? And then E Phrygian and F Lydian and so on, like that, right? And if you aren't familiar with that, try that and work that out, and make sure that you can hear the chord that goes along with it or that's associated with it. Right, so like a D minor for D Dorian, or E minor for E Phrygian. Want to get inside of the sound there. All right, Sandro, thanks for joining. Please, Samba, Brazil, play. Oh, yeah, I might do a little playing here as we go. So that's what you would call relative, right? So you play relative to your key signature, really not leaving the key signature there or the collection of tones. And then the parallel way of approaching, which you want to be able to do both, is to take, okay, C major, and then play C, C Dorian, and continue to associate, chords with that, right? And then be able to think C Phrygian. and so on like that. C Lydian. C Mixolydian. C Aeolian. All right, and C Locrian. And associate a chord with each of these, right? So a couple things just to throw out there in your practice sessions is to think in key, especially if you're working with a particular standard, kind of understand the key, understand even just the basics of the progressions, the 5 to 1, gain some understanding of closely related keys in the circle of fifths. So oftentimes tunes will visit those areas, just like I mentioned earlier with the B flat, going to F. If you're in a tune that's in C, it might at some point go to F. It might at some point draw from G as well. So, right. So those are some things to consider. All right. Christopher says, I have a chord chart that shows all the major and minor chords in each major key, but I just noticed now that there is no F key or D minor. That chart shows all the major minor chords. Major key. Yeah, well, yeah, I'd have to see it, but yeah, you want to work with the circle of fifths and understand the relative major and relative minor of the key of 1 flat being F and D minor. Yeah, not sure why that is. Let's talk a little bit about video I put out. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll look at that next time we meet. Appreciate it. So, yeah, we've been doing lessons, and so I hope that's. I think that's been very rewarding for you, Chris. So, awesome. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the video I put out on the basics of music theory earlier this week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I put it out there, and so some of the ideas of playing on some of the ways that you can work with some of those ideas is to play, on one string. I did a little short on this to get a sense for the whole steps and the half steps. So some of the target concepts on that, understanding the half steps and the whole steps, understanding what those distances are, right? And then knowing the sequence of the whole, half, whole, half, right? And that builds major scales. And you can view that almost as a circle and start at any place and do your wholes and half steps around there. So that is sort of, in a sense, kind of the underlying pattern for the major scale and all of its modes and all of that. All right, and so want to be able to think about those things. So the whole step and the half step, the sequence of those steps, and how that builds tonality, tonal centers, and how you can take any note and have something to compare it to. So you want to kind of use your ear, use a looper or a backing track or something, and then play and really get inside the sound of each of those notes. Really try to hear each one of those notes on the chord. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the augmented triad. I think I talked in the podcast recently about where we do end up finding the augmented triad. So we have a few situations. If you take A minor and kind of explore that a little bit. If we have a 5 of A minor, then we can build out an augmented triad in there. So that's kind of a... So then we do build in a little bit of that augmented triad through really a kind of a couple of options. Here we have something like the Phrygian dominant. We have the fifth mode of melodic minor, so that can offer us that same kind of thing. Then we also have kind of more altered kind of scale, or Superlocrian type thing. So those are some nice options for the augmented triad. All right. So understanding key areas, key centers, secondary dominants, those are all some goals I would get folks to get into. I think from what I hear, a lot of folks, and tell me your experience, really kind of get into these modes, and maybe they're lacking like the context of tonality. And you want to, maybe consider a few things, when you think about a mode in the context of a standard jazz tune. You're gonna be using maybe mode names as more of like a shorthand for spelling out chord scales. Like, so if I'm thinking, okay, I'm in the key of C, I've got this E minor chord, am I gonna say or think, flat 2, flat 3, 4, natural 5, flat 6, flat 7, right? Or do I just say Phrygian, right? So some things to kind of consider there. I'm going to do a little more playing, but I welcome your questions, and I'd love to hear what your struggles may be here, or your successes as well, and maybe perspectives on how you approach practice and playing. Okay, doing a little noodling there on Blue Bossa, and we can build, put augmented triads into lots of a whole variety of different locations when it comes to playing. If we have a C minor, you can get kind of a cool sound by playing a major 7 on that. And that gives us kind of an augmented triad. We can play, we can build in little progressions into larger progressions. So let's say we have maybe a C augmented triad going to the 4 chord. Right, that gives us a little tension. To build out from. As we play a 2/5, we can focus our attention on the 5 and play augmented triad there. And we can step inside and outside of it too. We can play like that's called sidestepping or side slipping. Excuse me. Has anybody played Blue Bossa? How are we doing on that tune? That's a great classic tune, Joe Henderson kind of favorite tune, I think. So check him out. His recordings, he really kind of stretches out on that. It's pretty cool. Christopher, great lesson. Thanks. These are great insights in approaching chords and how the different modes provide different flares. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, everything, in the context of a harmony, it's really, really important because otherwise it doesn't have the context, right? So when you're in key of C, you can play any of the 7 notes, and how those 7 notes interact with the chords will be different based on what the chord is, right? So there's a great exercise right there, is just to maybe with a looper pedal, spend some time with each one of the chords of the major scale and get your ear digging into, okay, where are the consonances and dissonances on this particular tone. All right, let's see. I'll mention here. See if I can find my things here. Let's see. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps out the channel. If you're rewatching, leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if some of these insights help you, or let me know if there are any things you'd like to add. Folks in the community here of YouTube might gain from your comments. So I welcome your comments. I've been trying to make efforts to comment around YouTube, which I don't often do, but but I'm trying to make an effort to be supportive of some channels that I like and enjoy. Um, so I welcome you, even if you are a quite accomplished guitarist or a guitarist of any level. We're all here to support one another. Okay, yes, and I am available for lessons, and folks really do get a lot out of it, and make progress really more quickly, and you get feedback on your playing, the sound of your playing, and and um, and some technical things you might have missed, as well as well as content. All right, well, I'm going to do a little more playing here. And mute my mic and do a little noodling around. Okay, so playing around a little bit there with that sort of the inside and outside sounds, and sort of the really interesting kind of thing of the augmented triad, offering just different shades of consonance and dissonance on any given sound. Now, I didn't play a lot of chords there, but I am working with an underlying harmony of a Cole Porter tune named What Is This Thing Called Love? And that really offers a lot of opportunity. I mean, you can build augmented triads and outside sort of sounds on just about anything. It's all dependent on what maybe what your personal taste is for consonants, and dissonance, and maybe in some respect, how open your ear has become to hearing different dissonances and consonances, and that's why I really suggest that you get in deep with the basic chord sounds and hearing all 12 notes. In a sense, you might think, okay, wrong notes, right notes. And if that's your perspective, that's okay. But get to know what kind of the wrong notes sound like. So if you're trying to avoid those, then you kind of know that that sound. Your ear is familiar with that sound. For me personally, I really like the concept and the idea and the sound of being free to play any of the 12 notes on any given sound. But anyway, back to what I was talking about here. So, get into C major, C dominant, C minor, right? C minor 7 flat 5, C diminished. Taking those basic chord qualities and getting to know them, getting to know the consonances and dissonances, and hearing all 12 notes on each one of those, and then doing those in all the 12 areas here. C, do it in B, B flat, and so on, like that. And that may be a really long-term, far-off kind of goal, but I would say ultimately, try to aim for that, hearing all the tones. So playing arpeggios is great, for getting really in there, getting kind of specific with those tones. Right. So, but again, kind of the theme of this talk today, sort of the interconnectedness of various collections of tones, right? So if you take a C major 7, right, and we get 4 out of the 7 tones. So then try to think about, well, what's not in that chord that's still in the key that I'm in, right? So you get a D minor, and then you can actually kind of start weaving back and forth. Between those two. All right, everybody. Well, it was a pretty quiet day here on the live stream, but I did enjoy our chats. So thanks so much, Christopher, for joining in. It was great to see you. Great to see you here today. So thanks, Sandro, Costas. Appreciate it. So I'll play a little bit more and see if we have any last minute comments and everything. You're welcome, Christopher. Glad to hear you're looking forward to our one-on-one lesson. I am as well. It's just so awesome to be a part of folks' growth in this art form, music and improvisation and jazz and all that. All right, greetings from Poland. Thanks for joining. All right, so I'll do just a tiny bit here, more noodling around, and listen for those augmented triads and diminished sevenths if you can. And I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to mute my mic during this. Good morning from Indonesia. I'll play a little bit more here. All right, everybody. One last few thoughts, have fun with it, have fun playing, enjoy practicing, work on small little bits of information, try things, play things, experiment, identify weaknesses in a line that you play, and go and kind of fix it, and then see if you can try your line again. Maybe record yourself, go back and refine, noodle around and identify something that catches your ear, and then think, hey, I really like that sound. I really want to keep that in my playing. I want to develop that. Take that line, transcribe it, play it, and work at it. Try to explore. I really love the concept of Pat Martino, who talks about thinking of it as kind of a toy in a sense. I think that was his perspective on it. And correct me if I'm wrong in that, but from what I've seen, pick it apart, explore it, have fun. Remember, these note collections are generally not exclusive or isolated or sort of an island. They're sort of part of a bigger thing, sort of a larger network of tones. And it's really important to have context of harmony. So in modern music, that is kind of the thing that we work with and deal with, right? So think about your note collections, think about the number of notes you're working with, and so on like that. All right, everybody. Again, like and subscribe. Take a lesson. I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.